the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Coaches on this in this department, in this athletic department, have embraced the portal. Maybe they don't love it, but they've embraced it to their benefit, as well as any group of coaches has around the country.
Yeah, I don't disagree. What do you think is the most overlooked important quality that Nico Iamaleava possesses?
I mean, I think that his demeanor counts.
Hmm.
I don't think things are he gets too high, he gets too low. Physically, he can throw off platform and he can do things like that you're looking for. But I think there's a humbleness to him that probably surprises many.
Yeah.
He's the guy when he arrived a year ago, you thought, okay, big fanfare, here we go. Wraparound sunglasses, pajama pants, got his own line of merch, and okay, here's what you're dealing with here. He went to the back of the line and never flinched.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, when he came in, I need to learn. I'm behind all the walk-ons, and like to the point that people in the building, parents of other players would say, that guy's he's a really humble, really good guy, because I think everybody was sort of expecting something different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've had quarterbacks in the past, not at Tennessee, but around the country, that were hot shots that arrived in a limousine for fall camp, right? And that didn't set well with people. This guy just showed up and put his head down and went to work. And I think that has been an enduring quality for him in the locker room. Because let's face it, there's an NIL story there, right? Everybody's talked about it. He was kind of the first big NIL guy coming out of high school. There was so much written about that, which could have been could be a locker room problem. Could have been a locker room problem. But he's never made, nothing about him is NIL, nothing about, hey, here's how much money I have. I'm flaunting this or I'm flaunting that. It's been, I want to be a good teammate. I want to learn as much as I can learn. I want to wait my turn. I'm not ready. I've got to go get better. And I think there's a quality to that humbleness that can help you emerge and be a really quality leader, because he earned his way. There's no one's going to feel like it was a gift. A gift would have been handing him the keys the moment he arrived on campus. But he didn't want that. His family didn't want that. He wasn't ready for that. And so I think that's a quality few people probably recognize about him that gives him a chance to really lead a locker room through his actions more than his words.
And I wonder too, you would know better than I. He seems kind of introverted. Like he's very laid back. And I wonder, do you think that's going to be something that they talk about a lot? It's just that, like, maybe it doesn't matter because Dylan Sampson, high energy, seems like he has all leadership qualities in the world. And I think people just misconstrue being loud or being vocal as leadership. Like, I think quiet leadership, like, I guess when we go through like to past Tennessee great quarterbacks and stuff, have you seen that there's a certain type of personality that actually matters, or do people buy way too much into how vocal? Because you see the stories of like Nico's learning to speak up more, of this, that, and the other. It's like, well, what if he just is really good at his job and he doesn't, and the guys follow and they roll with him and they're good with his personality type? I don't know. I just wonder about guys who are comfortable in their own skin, like Nico seems to be, and just kind of laid back. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing, but I feel like quarterbacks always get that light shined on them if they don't have that raw personality naturally.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those deals where the really good quarterbacks through the years, whatever levels, they don't have to do it in front of the camera. They don't have to do it in front of everybody on the sideline. How many clips have you seen of Joe Montana, who you can make the case is the best, or certainly one of the best, at the elite? How many clips are they of him screaming at somebody on the sidelines?
Yeah.
Now Tom Brady was a screamer, right? He would yell at people. He would get in their face and get after
Peyton
it.
was.
Peyton would do that, there were certain things like that. And so, I think that I think the worst characteristic of a leader is trying to be something that you're not.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people, whatever position, somebody tells them they need to be a leader, and all of a sudden they become a screamer. And they haven't earned that right. They don't have the credibility to do that. It's like everybody's like, who's the next Al Wilson as a leader? I mean, Al Wilson's one of one.
Yeah.
Right. But that doesn't mean he's the only great leader the program's ever had. It's just Al's style was different, and it was very Al, and it
Keenan
was
Peely might be very Keenan Peely, but that's a great leader on defense. Yeah.
right. So Keenan Peely's doing it as a 26-year-old, and Al was doing it as a 20-year-old, right?
Yeah.
What was your demeanor at 26 versus 20? You're not even 26 yet anyway. You can't answer that question.
Oh, hold on. I'm 33, Brent. The hairline would disagree here, sir. Let's just go ahead and say.
I think with leadership, I always say, and I've said this before, I think the word culture is overused and overblown. We talk about culture a little bit too much. I think culture is real, but I think it's just kind of become a catchword. I think leadership has always been that, because if you put 10 people out here and ask them about leadership, most of them would say somebody who's screaming. But there's a lot of really good leaders through the years who aren't losing their mind, right? I mean, what's the joke from the Tennessee fans? When something's going bad, Philip Fulmer's clapping on the sideline. But I'm telling you, he was a really good leader. No. His just demeanor about leading was different. It was a lineman's leader. It wasn't, a defensive players, firing us or whatever, right? Like, because Will Muschamp's got blood going down his face on the sideline, did that make him a better leader than someone who was more quiet and about their business? There's just there is no cookie cutter. There is no, all right, I'm going to draw a great leader and here's what they look like, because it comes in so many different forms for so many different people. Again, the great leaders are true to who they are and their personality. They don't try to force being something that they're not. And I think that's the thing. The challenge for Nico has been to speak up more and to be more vocal, but it's got to be genuine or it's irrelevant. If he goes from that, all of a sudden, I'm going to become a screamer, but that's not really who I am, it's probably going to fall on deaf ears, right?
Yeah.
You got to be vocal, but you've got to be vocal within your own personality.
I like it. Will it end up being better or a detriment for Tennessee not to play an important home game until Florida in mid-October, do you think?
Well, I mean, you'd certainly like to play Oklahoma at home.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the fact that they don't have an important, like, Tennessee has lost one home game, and it was to Georgia in over 2 years now. The fact that they don't get any of those early games at home, those swing games at home. They're at North Carolina State in the middle, in a neutral site. They have at Oklahoma. They don't play an important home game until mid-October. Like, I don't know, weirdly, a lot of the seasons, a third of the season's already over before Tennessee fans have an opportunity to sway a game. Like, because you got Florida 2 years ago early in the season. You've got South Carolina.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.